So yes, talking about singing new tunes. Nigeria recently did the impossible. We went the other route using we. I don't know why. Okay, I suppose I should use we. Okay, so Nigeria's new anthem, written by Britain, sparks criticism. Nigeria adopted a new national anthem Wednesday after lawmakers passed a law that replaced the current one with a version dropped nearly half a century ago, sparking widespread criticism about how the law was hastily passed without much public input. President Bola Tinubu's assent to the law came a day after it was approved by both chambers of the Nigeria's National Assembly, which is dominated by the governing party. The federal lawmakers introduced and passed the bill in less than a week, an unusual fast process for important bills that usually take weeks or months to be considered. The Arise O Compatriots anthem has been in use since 1978 when it was introduced by the military government. The anthem was composed at a time when the country was reeling from a deadly civil war and called on Nigerians to serve our fatherland with love, strength, and not let the labor of our heroes past to be in vain. The new version takes immediate effect as it was introduced in 1960 when Nigeria gained independence from Britain before it was dropped by the military, titled Nigeria We Hail Thee. It was written by Lillian Jane Williams, a British expatriate who was living in Nigeria at the time. Oh, God. Oh, God. Right. In the 21st century in Nigeria, the country's political class found a colonial national anthem that has pejorative words like native land and tribes to be admirable enough to foist on our citizens without their consent. Ezekiel Silly posted on Twitter, formerly known as, on X, formerly known as Twitter. Supporters of the new anthem, however, argue it was wrong for the country to have adopted an anthem introduced by the military. Anthems are, listen to this projection. Anthems are ideological recitations that help people to be more focused. It has a very sad development for the military to have changed the anthem, public affairs analyst Frank Tiete said. Your take.
All right. Well, actually, it's very sad that it's happened. Something like that. I think it captures the really the condition of disarray, lack of direction in terms of what's happening in other parts of Africa, including a major country such as Nigeria. I wonder what a public, a wide survey, a poll would have yielded. I would like to have seen the result of polling to see what ordinary Nigerians thought of something like that. Obviously, yes, these are elected, whether they're senators or
representatives
in Nigeria and parliament. They don't really represent the thoughts of the individual Nigerians. So I wish the poll had been commissioned, or even a referendum, right? National anthems, okay, it's what we say, it's symbolic and symbolism, but these are some of the important things. State symbols. When we talk about the national flag, of course, people will go to war if you burn the national flag, right? So, of course, anthems also has that kind of same weight and connotation.
Very emotive as well.
So now you have an anthem written by Lillian Jean Williams, a British woman who had lived in Nigeria. I don't care how long she had lived in Nigeria. Why should she have be the person to capture the essence of Nigeria? Because that's what an anthem is supposed to do.
Could you repeat that part, please?
Summarize your past, summarize your present, and summarize your potential futures. That's what an anthem implies. And I don't believe that a European, a descendant of the colonizers, can capture that essence. I want the descendants of the victims of that colonization to tell me that story in the form of an anthem. Okay, so when you talk about okay, this one came after military rule. Well, frankly, military rule has been a large feature of Nigeria's history.
Correct.
The Civil War was a large feature of Nigeria's history.
Yep.
To ignore that would be preposterous. So to me, that was not a disqualifier at all.
And also the fact that the military, was representative of the country.
Absolutely. So I went and I heard both anthems. And I must tell you that Nigeria We Hail Thee, which is the 1961
version,
the European, sounds like a popular pop song or something like that. It's jovial, melodic, and but it really does not contain much. And it has references through though tribes and tongues may differ, we should come together as one Nigeria. Okay. So first of all, the term tribes, that's a European imported term to describe Africans that in many cases were actually nations and even empires.
Correct.
Now you reduce them to clans. And these are people that have languages. You reduce them to tongues, which, they like saying, vernaculars or something like that. So to me, that is actually sort of a neo-colonial answer compared to Arise or Compatriots, which was trying to capture the reality of the history that had transpired in Nigeria since former independence from Britain. So I hope it is reversed, and perhaps a future parliament will indeed reverse it in Nigeria.
Yeah. And also, to put a final note on it, I remember being in university in Nigeria, and when we sang the old anthem, it was usually to denote the fact that the country was acting like a neo-colonial state as a revolt. So now imagine, you now revert back to the same anthem that we used to critique the country. What you're now confirming?
You're now confirming that parliament is not made up of Thomas Sankaras, is what
exactly.
I can tell you.
Exactly. And it was, when I thought maybe it was a joke. But to understand,
when you brought it up as a topic for discussion, I really thought you were joking. I had to go and research and go and hear both versions of the anthem myself, which I did.
So for me,
what? As Rodney once said, the things that happen in Africa, don't shock me anymore. So I can't say. Of course, I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked.
But this is the country that is supposed to be one of the movers and shakers on the continent. You would, with the greatest of respect to everybody else, you would least expect this.
Listen, those are my sentiments. I think Nigeria, is generally letting us down. It is Nigeria that should be providing us with the examples of Thomas Sankara, not tiny Burkina Faso. Because coming from a large country like Nigeria, the impact could be such more encompassing for the entire African continent. So, but I'm glad we need to critique things like this because it begins with seeing such as this.
Yes.
And the mindset.
Yes.
But I'm very hopeful as African people. We have to remain hopeful. And at the end of the day, the resources, no matter how much of the resources that they exploit, they cannot excavate all those riches we have on the ground. They cannot carry the abundant land that we have and transport it to Europe. They may colonize some African reactionary minds to work as their agents, but those days are becoming much more difficult as we're seeing in West Africa. And that's what we should continue doing. We should make it difficult and expensive for fellow Africans to sell us out and have Africans who want to use our resources and our intellectual capability and creativity to develop Africa.
Yes, on that very informative note, thank you very much, Brother Milton, and for coming through again, and for our guests, and also those who will view the video now and later. Do like, share, subscribe, and as usual, we bring you this information not because it's just part of the course, but we feel the days of having information about Africa or just passing through to the continent unfiltered, those days are long gone. And as long as we have the time, the breadth, the resources, we'll continue to bring this show. So please support the channel, like, share, subscribe, and, put your comments in there. Feedback is welcome. Constructive criticisms, of course. And we thank you.